So it's been a while since I have sat down and just done a talking sort of video like this. And I know I used to do that a lot on my YouTube channel. I would just sort of pick a topic and pontificate about it. That's the word. I want to sound super pretentious. And I kind of felt like I wanted to do that today. My hair is absolutely crazy. I can't tame it. I don't know what to do with it. So this is what you're stuck with. Also, someone on TikTok today called me a MILF and I may never recover. But I have had a very turbulent couple of weeks and I thought, you know, it's such an intricate and important part of my life, I've realized, to take things I have learned and put them on the internet or create with those things I've learned. It really is the year of realizing things, just like Kylie said. I thought I would start this video with a story, sort of a am I the asshole situation, and how that has added to what I've learned. I have this friend. I don't know if I can call them a friend anymore. I'm not going to out them. I'm not going to give any clues to who this might be. I'm not going to say their name. Their anonymity is protected. But this person in my life has a huge attachment to being seen as an amazing friend. Every time I see them, they're always talking about how this person just told me that around me, I can be my true self, and they've never felt that way about anyone else. It's just around me. And my neighbor just needed my help because apparently not even the professionals could handle this the way that I handle it. And this person is just constantly like, me. It's just like really annoying. Constantly complimenting themselves, constantly talking about how other people have complimented them. And I consider myself somebody who can read people really well. And I noticed this about this person. I was like, I'm not going to play into your own self-image. I was just going to sit there and listen and be like, okay, great. And I think that bothered them in hindsight after I tell you what happened on that fateful night 2 weeks ago. This person has never really supported things that I care about. Like when I had a fundraiser to help me publish my book, they did not donate 1 cent. And I'm not saying that they had to. I'm not saying that they owed me anything. But this person makes a lot of money. They knew how important this was to me. And they didn't do anything. They didn't even share it on their story. They didn't interact with it at all. And then they were like, oh, I thought it was just a thing where you can only do that on the website. Or like some, you know, BS reason like that. And then when I had COVID, you know, they live super close to me. They didn't even bother saying like, if you need anything, I can help you. Like, point is that all these things that you would think that someone who is an amazing friend would offer. Recently, I've been seeing this person saying stuff like, well, I'm only giving what I get back. And I'm like, again, that's not what, you get the point. I went over to this person's house just over 2 weeks ago because I hadn't seen them in a while and we were gonna catch up. I could just tell the entire time that they really didn't care about anything I was saying. I would give them updates on my life. There was like a glazed over kind of expression on their face. Even the good things too. There was no enthusiasm. There was no, you know, any of that again, you would assume would be present in somebody who considers you a friend of theirs. As the day wore on, we were sitting outside on their balcony and I said something like, I don't believe that anybody has completely pure intentions. I think that there is always a sliver of something selfish in there. And that is not a bad thing. If this triggers you, there will be people in the comments saying, well, no, I'm not like that. Yes, you are. Like, we're all a blend of good and bad. But then this person started talking about, no, well, my mother, she is so good-hearted and she does everything from her soul, from her spirit, and she's such a sweet angel baby and she does mean the best all the time. And I said, well, one time she said that I was fat, essentially. Like one time she said, oh, you've put on weight since I last saw you. And that kind of made me uncomfortable. That kind of made me feel bad. And I could tell in this person I was hanging out with, their whole being shifted. All of a sudden, they were extremely angry. It was like a penny dropped down a well. That's how fast it happened. And again, I'm very good at reading people, so I could clock that immediately. And I started to feel really uneasy because I don't do well when I'm around people who are very angry, you know, past traumas and all that. And I said, why are you getting so upset? I can tell you're getting really upset. And they said, well, I just don't understand how you can't listen to what I'm saying. And in my head, I'm like, what are you saying? And it starts to become a blur at that point because I was going into fight or flight mode. I was like, I'm gonna take myself out of the situation. So I leave the balcony, I go to pour out the rest of my beverage, and I think I hear them saying something behind me about how like I can't face my problems or something. So I did tell them to fuck off because I was mad and I had it with them at that point. You know, there's a whole history that I'm not even going into in this video. And I go to the door to get out of there because I don't want to be around them any longer because I don't like how angry they are. I don't even register that they're behind me. So I go to shut the door and leave. And all of a sudden they stop the door and they're in my face all of a sudden. And they're like, how dare you shut my door like that when I was coming to the door to walk you out, and you're so welcome for the free wine and like all this stuff, which also, by the way, in the past, this person used to say how like they didn't even care how much wine they gave away to their friends because they're such a good hostess. So, okay, lie number one. And like, you're always playing the victim, Kate. You're always going on and on about your 85,000 followers on TikTok this, your 85,000 followers on TikTok that, and it's pathetic. And they push me. And I like kind of lose my balance. I fall against the wall in this person's hallway. And I say their name and I'm like, you just pushed me. And I'm just like staring at them in disbelief because once you put your hands on me, it's done. That to me is unforgivable. And I forget what they said at that point. And I went, you're really self-obsessed. And they slammed the door in my face. And I leave. This whole thing really taught me one of the points of today's video that I wanted to talk about, and that is, you are not what you say, you are your actions. And I stand by this. If anyone in my life or in your life says that they are something a lot, like I'm such a good friend, I'm so this, I'm so that. Just like Tywin Lannister said in Game of Thrones, they are not that thing. Very oftentimes, they are the opposite. They are trying to compensate for something. Any man who must say, I am the king is no true king. That's right. I have always been someone who has been very confused about who I am. You know, I feel like my sense of self changes a lot because I change my views on things all the time. So of course, who I feel I am as a person also constantly changes. And so I try to not get fixed in trying to figure out who I am anymore because in a way it's pointless. And I had a realization the other day, you are your actions, not your words. If you are lost at all, if you have any doubts about who you are, look at your actions, look at what you do with your time. Do you take the time out of your day to make the people around you feel that you care about them? Do you spend a lot of time reading? Do you go after things? Do you let fear keep you small? These are the true selves. These are much better metrics to measure who we are than words are. Our actions are a much better way to delineate who we are than who we think we are, what our words say. Because really, the mind can be convinced of anything. I've seen these studies where if you're reading a book where a character is running, the same part of your brain that lights up when you physically run is also being lit up when you read about someone running. So in other words, the brain is susceptible and open to suggestion. You can convince yourself that you are anything. It's, in my experience at least, a very easy thing to do, but it's the actions that actually show you who you are. And oftentimes, fear is what keeps us from doing things. But there, in my opinion, is no greater metric, no greater measuring tool for how far you will go in your life than in your ability to master and overcome your fears. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. I know a lot of people don't even want to go near what they are afraid of. And I totally understand that. But something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and I was writing about it in my journal the other day, is that we must confront ourselves head on. We must not be afraid to look at the parts of ourselves we don't want to look at. Because on the one hand, if you don't look at those parts of yourself, someday they are going to deal with you. They are going to come out in ways that you don't even realize, and they may be already. And sometimes when you look at these parts of yourself, it's painful and it's scary, but once you get through it and get to the other side of it, it's not nearly so bad. There's another argument that people say that if they were to do that, then they would have to say goodbye to certain parts of their life or certain people in it. And again, that's scary. We don't want to do that. We want to have community and security, but this is about living your life. This is about living your life to the fullest and to be the greatest expression of yourself. In the case of this person that I dealt with a few weeks ago, if that person had just had the courage and taken the time to look at how angry they are inside and how they have these violent tendencies, maybe what happened wouldn't have happened. Maybe if people had the courage to look at themselves more fully, we would have a kinder world, a less fucked up world where people take out their unresolved crap out on other people. And I feel like, at least for me, I am an expert at looking at myself and diving deeply and trying to help myself be a better person, to get closer to the highest expression of myself. And I am not afraid to go there. I am not afraid to have these conversations. And I kind of want to write a book on resilience and how to cultivate it. And I mean, I have a million other ideas for books as well. And I hope that, people will find it interesting and helpful and that they will read it. But this is something that collectively we need to be better at doing. Like, I'm so tired of the fakeness. I'm so tired of people being unable to live in the truth, whatever the truth is for themselves. Like, no, you know what? Actually, I am really fucking angry. Actually, I am really fucking sad. And that's okay. I'm strong enough to deal with it. And that really is just my wish for people. Live your life. It goes by fast. I know it's so scary to confront what we don't want to confront. The things that keep us locked up, the things that keep us living afraid of taking a risk, of being who we really are. But there's nothing that I wish more for people in my own life and for you watching or people out there than to not be afraid to do that. So, we interrupt this broadcast to bring you a long message. But anyway, I don't know if this was rambly. I hope that it was helpful. I want to do more videos like this. I know I used to do videos like this on my YouTube much more. And I'm just in a period of time in my life where I want to focus on more content creation, of sharing what I've learned, sharing my strength, my take on things, whatever you want to call it. I just want to share more. So with that being said, I hope that you're having a fantastic Friday, fantastic weekend, or whatever day it is that you're watching. Please let me know down in the comments if there are any topics or anything that you would like to see me speak about on my YouTube channel. We are still going to talk about books. I'm not going to put that in there actually, because that's for another video. I think I found one of my favorite books ever, or like my favorite book ever. So that will be in another video at another time. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as you could enjoy a video like this. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.